Hello everybody, good afternoon, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Erik ten Hag press conference reaction in relation to the game against Everton. Lots to get into, of course, as always with Manchester United, in fact. And he was asked about Rafael Varan. He was asked about the latest around injuries, some positives around that with Luke Shaw, Rasmus as well, Anana as well. He's asked about, obviously, there's a Ten Hag touchline ban. Spoke about form, spoke about whether we're going to be looking at a striker in January with the lack of goals, and also a few other bits as well. But look, let's not beat about the Kate Bush. Let's get straight into it. Let's get running up that hill. That'll be me tonight at 8 o'clock, actually, trying to get up from the pub in time. But yeah, let's get straight into it. I think we'll start off with, he was asked about Varan. I mean, I thought the start of the press conference was a little bit boring, to be honest. I felt like I was watching Match of the Day. Some of the questions were just putting me to sleep and making me wanted to throw up. But they did get better. And he was asked a direct question about Rafael Varan, what's going on with Rafael Varan. I'll tell you what I always find interesting about this pantomime is that it was Chris Wheeler and Sammy Muckbell in the Daily Mail who wrote the article we reacted to this morning, talking about the breakdown in relationship between Ten Hag and Varan. And then Chris Wheeler's in the press conference today asking him a question about referees. And I just thought, you got this massive story about Rafael Varan and Erik ten Hag breaking down relationship and not getting on. And then you've got a press conference where the journalist is in there and asks him a question about the referee, which I find somewhat surprising, I suppose. But there we go. That's just the way it is. Sorry, there's a twat in the chat. Let me just get rid of him. I don't normally notice those twats in the chat, but I spotted that one. But look, this is what he said about Rafael Varan. He said it's rumours in relation to the breakdown in the relationship. Very important player. There's internal competition in the club, which is a good thing. And look, it's a decision to make between two very good players, Maguire versus Varan, and I make a choice. And look, I have got no issue with Erik ten Hag if he is telling the truth. But as somebody just said in the chat there, I hope it's the truth, says Gabrielle. And this is the problem, isn't it? I'm not going to call Erik ten Hag a liar. I like Ten Hag, but I know many of you have, and I know other people have. I know some people feel that they've been lied to about De Gea, Ronaldo, Sancho, so they probably won't believe what he said there. But if that is true, it's absolutely fine. You know, rumours in the press about a falling out which aren't true. Very important player. Internal competition is good. I agree with that. And he's got a choice to make between Rafael Varan and Harry Maguire, and he makes his choice. And at the moment, I don't think too many people would argue. I mean, I'd still pick Varan over Maguire because he's better. For me, that's like picking an in-form Harvey Barnes over Messi. I'm still going to pick Messi because he's better. But I've got no issue with Harvey Barnes starting, and I've got no issue with Harry Maguire starting, and that's the manager's job. And as Z says, back the manager. And if the manager wants to bench Varan and put Maguire in the team, as long as there's not a fallout, I'm not really that bothered. I'm really not that bothered. I suppose some people would say, why can't you pick Maguire and Varan? Because Ten Hag has got this thing in his head that he wants a left-sided centre-back. Now, obviously, we've been playing Johnny Evans there and Lindelof there, but I think he prefers Maguire on the right-hand side of the centre-back situation, and he prefers Varan on the right-hand side of the centre-back situation. And I don't think he trusts either player on the left. So in his head, he has to pick between Maguire and Varan. Look, the manager is the manager, and the manager must make his choice. Do I think there's been a fallout? I don't really. Yes. Honestly, yes. Do I think he's going to look to sell him in January? Yes. Do I think Varan is completely fed up with this situation? Probably. Do I hope that it can be resolved in the next few weeks? There's so many games. We're playing 3 games in 6 days. Johnny Evans is injured. Martinez is injured. I mean, surely Varan will start one of the next 3 games. And if he does, he should be going out there and showing him what he's all about. I mean, he certainly didn't do that when he came on against Copenhagen, did he? So, look, I think hopefully that draws a line under it a little bit for now, because I think it was good that Ten Hag was asked the question, and I think it was a fair answer to the question. What the truth is, I don't really care. We'll find out about that. But I think politically speaking, we were talking about this morning. Manchester United is a political animal as much as it's a football animal. And I think when you're asked about a player that there's a big rumour that you've fallen out with, and you come out and say it's a rumour, and he's a very important player, and it's about competition for places, then I don't think the manager can really say anything more than that. And who knows, he may even start him against Everton. Erik Ten Hag is lying. Varan and him have fallen out, says Ricky. If Varan wants to leave, he can get. He can go. Erik Ten Hag needs to be sported, says Brutos. I don't think he does want to leave, mate. I think that's the point. And Daniel says, I don't think he does want to. Can I just say, Daniel, Brutos, Varan is not asking to leave. That's not even the story. This is coming from United and Ten Hag, if it's coming from anywhere. So tough crap for Varan. He needs to be available and play better. It's on him, says Daniel. And perhaps Varan and Lindelof for Everton, says Stephen. No, I think Maguire will start 100%. I think Maguire will start that. His says, what about Inacio or Todibo? I think that's pie in the sky talk at the moment, especially in January, mate. But let's go through what else Erik Ten Hag had to say, because I'm sure we can circle back on that. So apparently there's a story going round as well. Now, Ten Hag wasn't asked about this, but I did read it this morning. There's a story going round that the Lisandro Martinez is back. It's getting a bit cold in the UK today. Lisandro Martinez is back later this month. It's the 24th of November. How can you say later this month on the 24th of November? They've got 6 days left. Is he? I don't know whether they're talking about next month or this month. But, yeah, I mean, Martinez is not playing against Newcastle next week. He's only walking around the training ground in trainers. He's not back this month. So I agree with Daniel. I think this is next month. Yeah, I don't think he'll be back this month. But the fact that he's not that far away, I see as a positive. And I just wanted to drop it in there because the article did say this month, later this month. But I think it's going to be next month, to be honest with you. Tina G says she's freezing. Every time I read Tina G, I just want to go, ooh, just a little bit. Gina G, isn't it? Okay, but the latest on injuries that matter. 3 updates here. Anana is okay, and he's been training. Obviously, he had a bit of a problem in the international duty, but he's okay, training, and will play against Everton. Rasmus is really close. He has started training a little bit. They're going to wait till tomorrow to make a decision, but Rasmus is close. Luke Shaw is available. We'd heard rumours about that across the international break. Luke Shaw is available and will be in the matchday squad. Johnny Evans is on his way back. Won't be back for Everton, but it won't be too far. So Evans not back. Rasmus is touch and go. Luke Shaw and Anana both available and ready to go in the game at the weekend. I'll keep you warm, says Rob. Thank you very much. And if Varan leaves, will Shaw play centre-back, says David. Well, he might well play Luke Shaw at centre-back. He was asked a question about Luke Shaw, about whether he's happy he's back. I mean, we didn't get anything in depth from Ten Hag, but he did say, I am playing career mode later. Yes, Republic. He did say that very happy to have him back. He's going to be a big help. And I think he's a big help in 2 positions, left-sided centre-back and left-back. I mean, I personally would put him at left-back, but I would not be surprised if Erik Ten Hag put him at left centre-back, because we don't have a left-footed centre-back. And Luke Shaw last season with Rafael Varan around January time was absolutely incredible. So he has got that option to do that. He could put Luke Shaw with Maguire. He could put Luke Shaw with Lindelof. So you could put Reguilon on at left back. Be interesting to see what he does there. He was also asked about the form of the team going into this massive month. And for me, this is the best part of the press conference. He was asked a bit of a loaded question about Manchester United being the in-form team in the Premier League at the moment, and have we hit a turning point? I'll just say before I tell you what Ten Hag said, I'm not comfortable with this in-form team in the Premier League. Where's all this come from? Is it because we won 3 of our last 4? I mean, form is not results. Not in my mind. I mean, look, you've got to look at the opposition. You've got to look how you performed in those games. We're not the in-form team in the Premier League at the moment. You can't just go, we've won 3 of the last 4, so we're the in-form team in the Premier League. We're not. If we were playing Man City tomorrow, I'd shit myself. Like, we've beaten Sheffield United, got beat by City, beaten Fulham, beaten Luton, and been unconvincing in all of those games. We've won 3 of our last 4. We're not the informed team in the Premier League. These sort of things concern me. It's like when people say, are you going to apologise to Scott McTominay now he's in the first team? No, because I think there's probably a really bad performance just round the corner, and I don't want to jinx it. And I definitely don't want to acknowledge that we're the most informed team in the Premier League at the moment because I haven't seen it. So I think we've got to be a bit careful about that. What I would say is there's a bit of momentum there. There's a bit of steel there. There's a bit of survival mode going on where we've won 3 of our last 4 and let's keep it going. So this is what he had to say anyway. We've hit a turning point. How we deal with situations is a foundation for us going forward. It's a big month and we go into it with confidence. But he did say every team will drop points this month and that the Premier League is really competitive and anybody can beat anybody. And I was sort of lost on the whole positive stuff of we've built a foundation, we've hit a turning point, we're going into it with confidence, it's a big month, we've built that foundation and we can deal with the situations. And I was like, well, this is all good stuff. This is all good stuff. And then he comes out with every team will drop points because everyone can beat everyone. And I thought, oh, you've gone really confident and then you've just gone and given us a little bit of reality because we are. But you know what? I respect it. Ultimately, I respect it because I don't need the bullshit. I don't think any of us need bullshit at the moment. I think we crave the truth. We crave honesty. If it's going to take us 10 years to fight for a title, I'd rather they told us that. I don't want bullshit. I don't want, we're going into the month to win every single game, get back into a title race. I think the reality is we've got some ridiculously difficult games. We've got Everton away, just talking league games. We've got Everton away, Newcastle away, Liverpool away, West Ham away, all before Christmas. They're all difficult games. We've got Chelsea at home. We've got Villa at home. We've got Bournemouth at home. So 7 games, really, we will drop points. If we win all 7 of those, I think we're in a title race. And we're not going to be in a title race. So a bit of reality from Ten Hag there about we will drop points. Of course we will. But he hopes there's a bit of a foundation there and a bit of a turning point. And we have got players coming back. As Big Red Plonker says, Shaw at left back gets more out of Rashford, which gets more out of Bruno. Important player, but we have a history of rushing players back. Look at Martinez. We've got to be very, very, very careful. And I think that's a great point. I'm not one of those fans who are like, when we get our players back, we're going to fly. I'm also, when we get our players back, we better bloody look after them. I mean, there's a case not to start Rasmus on Sunday, because there's bigger games to come. And if he has a relapse, we've got to be very, very careful. Jems has gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Jems. Hope you're doing well. He was also asked about not being in the technical area for this game because he's got a ban. He said, look, ultimately, it could be a positive. I get to sit in a higher position and watch the game. It's not necessarily a problem. I accept the ban and I might get a better view. He was asked a question about the referees and stuff, which I'm not really interested in, and I don't profess to talk about it long with you. I think he just said, look, I have to accept the ban and get on with it. But what he did say is that what he was asked about the Everton game, and we've got to be very aware of this. There is no manager in the dugout. That psychologically, I think that the manager not being in the tunnel is a massive thing if you've played the game. It shouldn't be, but I think psychologically it is a problem. When I think back to when I used to play football like years ago, I remember playing for my school team, and because the teacher was the coach, sometimes he wouldn't be able to come to the games because he'd have lessons or stuff, and it'd be an afternoon game because it's school football. And we'd have to go and play away, and one of the PE teachers would take us, and they weren't the proper coach. So the team would be picked, and then the PE teacher that was taking us would coach us. And it just wasn't the same. It's just not the same. And I've also been managed in games where, your manager gets sent off and stuff like that. And it's just not the same. It isn't. So I don't know. It's probably more psychological than anything, because ultimately in this situation, the manager's going to be in the, he's going to be phoning down. He's going to be in the dressing room and stuff. But it can have an impact. And I will acknowledge it. I'm not saying it's an excuse to lose to Everton. I'm not saying it won't stop us beating Everton, but it always does have a problem. It does. It's a psychological thing. And plus your manager's not there on the touchline shouting at you or calling you over. So it can have an impact. We've got to acknowledge that. How big that impact is, I think Ten Hag is very determined that it doesn't. He was also asked about the Everton game and the fact that there will be a protest, the fact that there'll be a lot of anger that could convey itself onto the pitch, and Everton players could be really focused and up for this. I don't necessarily think that goes in hand, by the way. Just because the Everton fans are going to be pumped up and protesting, and fair play to them, they've got that right. Does the modern footballer really get in tune with the fans? I don't want to tempt fate here, but I really don't think people like Decore, Calvert-Lewin, James Garner, Tarkowski are going to come out like, you know, like the Incredible Hulk, angry because they've had a 10-point deduction. I personally think it's Everton. There'll be a difficult game. They'll be up for it, but I don't think they're going to find another, you know, boost of power and aggression. I think it will be the same game it was going to be before the ban. But Ten Hag said, look, at the end of the day, it's about us. And he's right. We've got to match their standards of the opposition and go beyond that. And if we're expecting them to be angry and mad, then we need to be able to match that as well. But I think it's been overhyped a little bit, really. JF, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for that. Deitch will fire them up, says Nair. And think you're wrong about Ten Hag dropping Varan. With so many injuries, why would he build a defence around a player who is so injury prone, says Lawson. I think I'm right about it, Lawson. I think at the end of the day, when you're picking a team, you want your best players on the pitch. Why would I pick a shit player over a good player just because the good player gets injured every now and again? God, I mean, if you get married, I think we all know what sort of standards you're going to drop to, pal. You've not my words, your words. You know, why go for something good when it might let you down? Just go for something safe and boring. Great. What's for tea tonight? Toast. Toast and a glass of water, but it won't be chilled. Tap water, won't it? What time do you go to bed? 7. Anyway, look, I'm joking with you. I'm joking. But on a serious note, let's carry on. It was asked about the Newcastle and Galatasaray games coming up and how difficult it's going to be. And he said, look, ultimately, he repeated the question. It's about us. It's about cooperation. It's about everybody pulling in the same direction. We're going to find out a lot about Man United over the next week. I said this 3 weeks ago. Even before the international break, even before the Luton game, I highlighted these 3 games and said that they would be massive because there's 3 games. And can I just say as well, in defence of Ten Hag, he didn't say this, but I'm going to say this. Goldbridge is going to say this, and you're going to repeat it because it's absolutely true. Who the hell is setting this fixture schedule? If we were in a title race, I'd be fuming. This is a bloody joke. It's international break. We could have played Saturday lunchtime, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and we're playing Sunday evening kickoff, basically, when we've got Galatasaray away on Wednesday and Newcastle next Saturday. This is a fucking joke. 3 games in 6 days is a joke, and they're all away. And why are the Premier League not helping out clubs in the Champions League? It's a disgrace. We've had an international break. Why are we not playing tomorrow? 3 games in 7 days is difficult. Making us do it in 6 days, it is very, very difficult for us to do what we've got to do. And these 3 games will be massively defining, in my opinion. I think we lose at Anfield. I hate it, but I think we lose at Anfield. So we know we've got 1 significant loss coming up this month. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we get a shock, but I think Liverpool will beat us at Anfield. We're not capable of dealing with that atmosphere, and they're a better team than us. So we know we've got that potentially in the near future. So these next 3 games, we've got to be winning all 3 of them for various reasons. And I think, you know, a week on Sunday, it's going to be very interesting to see just what results we pull out because they're absolutely huge. And we will know, more importantly, a lot more about this team. Is it split? Is it together? Is it good enough? Lots and lots to think about. But I do think the positives are the likes of Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka coming back. Varane doesn't deserve to start, says Rory. Thank you very much, Rory. And good away form, strong belief. I don't know what I'm talking about there. I just wrote that down and underlined it. Eric Ten Hag says we've got good away form and strong belief. Have we got good away form? Well, we didn't. We definitely didn't last season. Have we got a good away form this season? I don't know whether we've got good away form this season. Well, I wrote it down yesterday, actually. 1-3, lost 2. 3 away wins. Fulham, Burnley, Sheffield United. I don't think we've got great away form, to be honest. But look, We bloody will know. As I said, in a week's time, we might have good away form, because if we beat Everton and Newcastle, we've got good away form. I'd agree with El Chapo. It's okay. It's not good, but in a week's time, it could be really good. It's okay form at the moment, but you know, he's building a positive. He's a manager at Man United. He's got to build his players up. Good. I like it. We spoke about Evans and we spoke about Varan. He was asked about the lack of goals at Manchester United and whether a striker is needed in January. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a poll here, because I'm going to tell you what Ten Hag said, but do we need a striker? Do we need a striker in January? Yes or no? Get your votes in. There we go. Do we need a striker in January? So Erik Ten Hag was asked this. This is what he said. You can get your votes in, and then I'll tell you what I think as well. He said, I'm confident in what we have. Rashi, and he does call him Rashi. 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 Kaneki. It's Rashi's back. No, it's Rashi. Yeah, Rashi. Rashi has scored 30 goals last year. Rasmus has got 5 in Europe, which is incredible. We have got goals already in this team, and we can get more goals. And apparently, we're 5th in the Premier League for chances created. So Erik Ten Hag is basically saying, we don't really need a striker in January. We've got goals. It's about scoring more of them. I think we scored 11 goals in 12 Premier League games, haven't we, or something like that. So we do need to score more goals. But Ten Hag, I think, is basically saying he's got the players to score goals. They're just not scoring them at the moment, and that he trusts those players to score those goals. We're 2 injuries away from where we were last season. Martial, I mean, can I just say Anthony Martial's not been injured this season? I mean, he's not really played, but Martial's not been injured. Rasmus has had a couple of injuries. I mean, you can put Rashford up front as well. I mean, I think I put Rashford up front in my preview yesterday, didn't I? So you could put Rashford up front. You got Højlund, you got Martial. Got loads of wing options, haven't we? With Garnacho, Pellistri, Anthony. Rashford obviously plays off the wing as well. You could put Mount out there or Bruno out there. We're probably better equipped. I think the issue with Manchester United is we'd be buying a striker because we don't trust the players that we've got. So I agree with Ten Hag on this. Do I need to go and buy a striker in January? Well, that's an admission that the players that you got aren't good enough, and I think he believes they are. Rashford, Højlund, Bruno, Martial, Garnacho, Anthony, whoever. I think he thinks they're good enough. So I don't disagree with him. I mean, personally, I wouldn't spend money on a striker. I think we need centre-backs, midfielders. I think that's the weakest area of the team. The attack has been a problem for years, but mainly the problem in the attack has been chance creation. If he's saying that we're creating the chances, then I believe we've got the players that can score the goals. The only striker I would be bringing in January would be Victor Osimhen, and you're not going to buy him. I don't want to go and buy... I don't want to go... I think even Ivan Toney would be a waste of time, because how often would he actually start? I think we need to get into a mindset with United now is let's not buy bench players. Do what Man City do. Buy players for your first team, and if they end up on your bench, you've got more competition. But don't be buying bench players. And I think in January, if we bought a striker, it would be as a bench striker. We don't need a striker. Our strikers need service, says Ethan. Guna, welcome to the Members Club, and has also gifted 5 memberships. I think that's a first. Becomes a member, then gifts 5 memberships. Guna, you're an absolute legend. Thank you very much, and welcome to the members community. Hiss says, what about Taremi or Ivan Toney? Well, I think that goes against what I would do. I don't want to buy a bench striker. I want to, and this goes across the whole club. I just want to buy players that are good enough for the first team and then let people compete. I don't want to buy bench players. Not many clubs buy bench players, and it doesn't tend to go well. You look at Arteta last January, buys Trossard. Is Trossard a first team player? No. I know he plays every now and again, but they've basically bought a bench player, and lo and behold, he ends up on the bench a lot. So I want us to buy first team players, and if we're going to buy a striker, let's buy somebody that can go in the first team and compete with Rasmus, not somebody who's going to be a bench player. That, to me, is not the way I would do it. So, yeah, I don't think we've got that sort of money in January as well. Although we just don't know. We just don't know. What are your thoughts on Casemiro, says CSK? Well, he's not even going to be back fit until Christmas at the earliest. And we desperately need him. I mean, look, we spend a lot of time talking about strikers. We spend a lot of time talking about centre-backs. What we haven't spent a lot of time talking about, and it's quite worrying, is the midfield. Games are won and lost in the midfield. I did a video on this this morning on That's Football about Liverpool. And as much as we don't like Liverpool, Liverpool have rebuilt their team in one summer. And now they're competing for a title. And they rebuilt their midfield. They bought 3 players in their midfield, and they've rebuilt their midfield, and they've probably got 6 or 7 combinations in that midfield they can play. They can even put Gakpo in there if they want and play Gakpo, Szoboszlai and McAllister, or Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and Gakpo and Curtis Jones. They've got so many options in their midfield. And next week, you'll see how many options Chelsea have got in their midfield. We're talking about Varane. We're talking about strikers. We're talking about centre-backs. Our midfield, right here today, isn't good enough. And we've got a massive, massive, massive month coming up. And games are won and lost in the midfield. Really, we need to have a conversation about what we're doing with our midfield. Games are won and lost in the midfield. It's the core. It's the middle of the pitch. It's where the ball spends most of the time. And we don't even have a midfield that can combine at the moment. So, urgently, people say, what should we do with Casemiro in January? Like he's not the only midfielder we've got. I think looking to move Casemiro away in January would be footballing suicide for us. But we haven't got anybody, and we need a lot more. I'd want Casemiro to stay and bring somebody else in. We should have been in for Enzo Fernandez last year. We should have been in for Casido in the summer, or Declan Rice. 3 brilliant midfielders have moved in the last 12 months, and they all should have been coming to Manchester United. And that's not even counting the likes of Jude Bellingham. So we need to invest in that midfield urgently. Urgently. I think it's the most important area. And I look at Everton games and Galatasaray, and knowing we've got no Casemiro and knowing we've got no Eriksen, you're basically putting together a midfield out of Amrabat, McTominay, Mount and Bruno. That's your 4 to pick for 3 spots. Fingers crossed we get away with it, but it is a massive area. None of those players are specialist holding midfielders. None of them are really specialist number 8s. So, well, Amrabat is, but, you know, I don't want to start saying he's a specialist anything at the moment. Strikers cost money. Learning how to cross doesn't, says Luke. And why would Ivan Toney be a bench player? He is a top quality, and you have said Rasmus can't play alone. Says, no, I haven't. Never said that. I've never said that. I've never said Rasmus can't play alone. Everybody plays on their own up front. That's the modern game. You can say that Ivan Toney would bench Rasmus. I haven't got a problem with that, but I'm not playing with the front 2 if that's what you're linking at. I've never bloody said that. What are you bloody talking about? Who have you been listening to? I want to play a front 2. I bloody don't start rumours like that. I'll be finished. I'll be over. I'll be done. You can't do that. You can't play with a front 2. Don't start putting those rumours out. I mean, I know I get taken out of context a lot, but that will finish me off. Goldbridge wants to play with the front 2. Ivan Toney and Rasmus. Oh my God, we'll get relegated, mate. You can't play with the front 2 at the highest level now. 4-4-2's done. In fact, the only one who sort of does it is Sean Dyche. But no, I have never said that Rasmus needs to play in a front 2. Dan T says you have. I've never said this. I think you dream stuff. I think you dream it. Oh, Goldbridge wants to play a 4-4-2. I've always been against 4-4-2 for 10 years. I don't like 4-4-2 anymore. It's not 99. Sorry, I didn't mean that he would play front 2. I meant that he cannot play every single game. Sorry, I didn't mean that he would play front 2. Yeah, I'm messing around, Iraq. You didn't get the worst messing around with the toast. He does need some support. Ivan Toney's interesting. He's English. If that's what we want to do, I'll back it. I will back it. But really, I really think Rasmus is going to be very, very special. So if you're bringing somebody in to compete with him, they need to be very, very special. Højlund's not that good, says Stephen. I mean, the guy's got 5 goals in the Champions League at 20 years of age in his first season for Man United in a shit team. I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you what I will say about Højlund as well, if Man United continue over the next 3 years like they have over the last 10 years, he'll be gone. That's how good I think he is. I don't think he wants to leave Man United. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's looking to move. I'm just saying I think he's going to be that good by the time he's 24. If we're not doing very well, I think bigger clubs will come in and take him because I think he is going to be the real deal. I like so much about his game. I think he's a fantastic player. I really, really do. Anyway, look, I could talk and talk and talk. It was a press conference reaction there. 8 o'clock show tonight. I'll try and get live for 8 o'clock. You know what happens on a Friday night. I normally pop out for a drink. And let's be honest, it's going to take me longer to drink tonight because, I do hold it with my left hand and I'm struggling with it. So, but I am live at 8 o'clock tonight. Looking forward to it. And I hope you'll join me for it as well. Get your comments in below. What did you think about Ten Hag? Do you think he's telling the truth about Varane being an important player and part of the future? Do you think he's right to say that we don't need a striker and we can trust the players we've got? Do you agree with him that we've hit a turning point and we should go into these games with confidence? And what are you thinking about Martinez? Do you think he'll be back soon or do you think we're going to have to wait a little bit? Thanks everyone for watching. Career mode is in just over an hour. I think this link will take you straight there actually. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.